right? You got to look good for a camera. You got people watching this stuff. Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to Matt Pozda from Call Dad. Oh my God. And he's going to
How
ruin the
many
video
times? Yeah, I'm
from the
gonna ruin it.
beginning.
Admit it. How many times in the history of video have people said, "I gotta look good for the camera"? Do the hat tug, the glasses tug, and then the hoodie string tug. Like,
And that's what's going to make me look good. I didn't worry about doing anything before I sat down at the computer. I just decided now I was going to straighten out. All right. Well, this has been a great video series. It had 1 and 1/8 episodes. Matt insulted me enough. Now we're not going to do anymore. No. Matt, thank you for agreeing to do this with me on a regular basis. This is going to be fun. You and I have some really awesome conversations kind of off camera. I thought that, to your suggestion was that I want to capture more of these. So this will be good. But I had a kind of a moment, a brain fart, if you will. I was like, maybe we can turn this into a little bit of an educational thing, or to show what comes out of working with professionals. Because you think about, people hire you guys because you're the professionals. You guys know what you're doing. You can do it quickly. You got all the tools you need. You've got relationships with buyers. So that's why they hire an HVAC company instead of doing it themselves, because you could do it yourself. I mean, I guess you need a gas license if you do a gas fitting thing, if you need a, electrical license, but you hire a professional for a reason. And you guys did the same thing. You came to the Wizard of Ads and you said, hey, listen, we want to grow our brand. We want to get more leads coming in the front door. We want more people to know who we are. And so you hired us. So I was curious if you'd be okay with me asking you a bunch of questions about what it is that you've learned, what your takeaways are in working with a marketing company for a year. We're a full service marketing agency. We do everything from ad writing to strategy to production, all that sort of thing. So you good with this line of questions?
absolutely.
Okay.
You've
So my
already
first
sparked a whole host of things in my mind on what you said right there. So,
Okay, perfect. So I think the first thing is, so I know Ryan Shute and you got connected, and that's how this whole thing started. He invited me and Jack and Beth to come work on his team to help Call Dad, at the time Sky HVAC, but help Call Dad become an awesome brand that nobody can ignore. What sparked that? What was that? What was the thing that made you say, I really need to get more help?
yeah, well, I think it's multifold, right? First of all, I got to admit, I was that pain in the ass customer. I wanted to be able to do everything myself, know how to fix the stuff, how the stuff works, all of that. And I took that application into the trades whenever I got into Sky. I thought, given my background from banking, that I was smarter than all these small business owners who didn't know anything about marketing. I could get in there and figure it out. And here's the problem, Matt, is there was confirmation bias that happened because things like Google LSA, which was that local search, right? That came out, I can't remember, 18 or something like that, maybe 2017.
Yeah.
We were the first and only company to go through Google Guaranteed in Charlotte. So all the big guys that were around had no concept of what it was, because it was one of those things back in the day, marketing was different. And a lot of them, to their kudos, are doing some of the stuff that we're trying to do now, right? So they were leaps and bounds above what I thought. For me, it was hey, no one else is doing this. I'm going to jump on it. And then it was validated in the sense that we were in pole position for GLSA for 6 months in Charlotte, North Carolina, with no one else on it. So it blew us up. And
Pozda's
that was me.
Smarter. Yeah, Pozda's smarter than everybody else just because he got lucky in timing. Of course, absolutely. Yeah.
But that's the problem when you think you're smart. When you get lucky, it can cause material problems. And it ended up, obviously, as you know now, and rambling here, but it ended up delaying us and getting us further behind.
Yeah.
It was that all of a sudden, there were a few other things that happened marketing wise over the course of, my initial ownership that, again, benefited us in a way that I thought I knew what I was doing in marketing. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
What happened, to answer your question, though, is those things stopped happening. Google didn't come out with a new LSA, right? And then all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, what do I do?
Yeah.
And I had to come to the realization that what I thought, this whole I can be smarter than everybody on the digital and outperform on the digital side, works up into a finite point.
Right.
To get beyond that, to grow, to truly grow a business, you have to think way outside of the digital box. And it was something that I knew that I was lacking. I knew that I was off. And when Ken introduced me to Ryan and started having conversations with Ryan about it, everything clicked for me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was that moment of, oh my God, what do I do? I'm actually not that smart. And then, holy crap, this
Okay.
makes sense. This is where we
Okay.
need to go.
So that leads me then to a really good follow-up question to that is, so Ken Goodrich is who you're talking about when you say Ken Goodrich, who owned Gettle and then sold it for a buttload of cash. And I'm saying this out loud, might be buying it back. I have no idea. There's some rumor mill out there. But anyway, Ken Goodrich, who has an amazing origin story, right? He has this really powerful message. He's been working with the Wizard of Ads for a while, and he met Ryan through those relationships, and then through that introduced to you. So that's great. All that's awesome. But you start talking with Ryan. What was that first aha where you were like, I didn't know that, or, oh yeah, that makes sense now, it hit me, like, so that you were able to say, yeah, you know what, let's talk about a bigger relationship.
I think it was, and this is what, when you were doing your preamble there, this is what sparked into my head about the dynamic of hiring professionals. And I said this, that I'm the type of customer that I wouldn't want, because what I realized, or what Ryan and you have done a good job of making me understand very quickly, was that all I was doing and all that I was focused on building the business was going out there and finding the next transactional customer.
Right.
And where the real aha moment for me was, holy crap, all this effort, energy that I've been doing has been focused on gaining customers that don't connect with us or don't give a crap really at the end of the day about our service. And having to say, marketing isn't about getting business, right, per se, like out of the gate, but it's making sure that you're getting the right business for the brand that you have. Being able to flip from what is a transactional, very digital focused, hey, I'm promotional, I just want somebody who needs my services, to getting people who understand what your value proposition is as a business, how you're differentiated from other businesses, and they want to do business with you. And that's really where understanding that underlying customer base differential of who we're actually marketing to was something that it had never even crossed my mind. I'd heard of, brand story or story brand and all that type of stuff, but even in that, to a certain degree, they're not touching on that dynamic, or at least the way that Wizards and Roy and everybody have done for so long.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a fair point. I mean, the thing that listen, there's a lot of really good branded companies out there, massive branded companies. I mean, you think about, the Apples of the world, the Tiffany's, the Rolexes. I mean, this is very much a brand play and not a transactional play. When you started to go, wait a second, we need more than this transaction. This, like, okay, I don't know you, you're in my area, Google local service, right? The LSA advertising works because they get that local, representation, but they still don't know you or what you do or why you do it. And the only thing they compare you on with the next guy is price, because they hope they can trust you, but they don't know if they can trust you or not yet. That's what kind of caught you in the beginning. It was like, man, like, this is a completely different mindset. And we spent a lot of time obviously honing that. I mean, everything for me, especially, my entire brain is, how do I let people feel and know they can trust me or trust my client before they decide that they need, or before that the need for the service arises, right? That's the one, like, at the very least, no matter what, you're going to be on the call list, right? So a transactional customer is going to call 5 people no matter what. They're never calling 1 or 2, they're calling 5. They're going to get all the quotes they possibly can because they have a fear. The number one fear is spending too much money, right? It's overpaying. And so they're just going to look for the cheapest price. And that's when we talk about transactional customer, that's what we talk about. Their number one fear. The number one fear of a relational customer, which is 50% of the market, by the way, in any category, 50% of the market buys relationally. And I'm doing this for the client. I know you know this, as we've been talking about this for a year or so now, but that relational customer is going to go to one or two to keep the one that they really want honest, right? And it's just to say, okay, yeah, it's in the realm of normal, so I'm just going to use you anyway. But they typically don't shop around. And yes, they're going to ask you for price breaks, but that's not the reason why they came to you. And so they don't need a price break to make a decision. They need to feel confident that their number one fear is going to be recognized, which is they don't want to make the wrong decision. Their fear is making, and I think that really related with you. And this is why, because when I think back to our original conversation, when we first met with you, you hated feeling like you were being taken advantage of by the big guy who could get out there quick and do the thing. So they were well funded. They had a lot of money behind them so they could have enough trucks and people and expertise, but yet they were probably selling you something you didn't need. And then on the other hand, you had that really knowledgeable, will take care of you. You felt like you could trust them. They just couldn't get to you for 3-4 weeks, and you have no heat or air conditioning, whatever the problem was at the beginning. And so you have this like real relationally, I'm going to get it done by that guy. Transactionally, I'm going to get it done by this guy. But I don't like either one of those situations. And you didn't know either one of them before you started reaching out.
Yeah. And
right?
You hit on this, and I think we talked about this a little last time, but it's like both of those examples are, inconvenient.
Right.
They're just inconvenient in very different ways, but they're both inconvenient.
Right.
And what I had never done, or what I struggled with doing because I was so focused on transactional customers, was connecting the dots that, hey, there are a lot of other people out there with the exact same story that I have.
Right.
Why are we not marketing to them? Why instead are we just marketing transactional, trying to be that, fourth, fifth, sixth person in line when somebody's already made a decision of what they need to do? They're just hunting for who can do it the cheapest.
That's right.
Instead, say, hey, let's take what your brand is trying to accomplish, your new brand, right? And let's just market specifically to that inconvenience. And let's build a business that's focused on solving that inconvenience. And that was where, like, okay, I joke, it was like that aha moment for me where all of a sudden I could see clear as day, like, holy crap, this is how we build a $250 million business. This is the way, this is the path. Like, this is what we need to build this business around.
Right. And then, so we met with you. My next question goes to, after we met with you and we go out for lunch, which was awesome. That lunch was great, because in that lunch, I'm texting with Ryan. Ryan's texting with me, and we have this like you and Matthew Stewart, you guys were both vibing the exact same thing, which was this whole idea of fatherhood, care, concern, that we were like, wait a second, we never come into a company and say, hey, listen, we think you should change the name of your company. There's a lot of things that you have to go through as a company to make name changes. And so it's not our first offering. And so when we threw that at you, can you remember back? I remember us sitting across from the table. We were back at the office in the boardroom. Do you remember what your initial thought of us was?
Well, first of all, I think you laid on pretty good, because I was able to guess what direction you were going with it. But yeah, no, there was trepidation. There was definite hesitation and concern, because like anything, when you're talking to somebody who's outside of the day-to-day, yeah, it's easy for you to come in there and say, hey, this is what you should do. But you're not thinking about how much that impacts every single aspect of the business, right? Now, I realize after the fact, you do care, you do understand it, but you don't have to operate through it. You get to go, hey, you guys should make this change. All right, I'll
let me know.
Yeah,
let me know when you got the trucks wrapped. We'll talk after that. Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you could have said, I'll not use an extreme example. You could have picked any name in the world, Turd Ferguson Heating and Air.
Right.
And, I would have probably had generally the same response, but there was definitely that fear of what does this mean from a business practicality standpoint of implementation, but also what would the market reception be to something that potentially, especially in a very, very PC world these days,
Right.
is potentially a little visceral, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think too, I mean, you've got, when we offered you the idea of Call Dad, right away in our minds, and a lot of what we were going back and forth on is how is this going to be seen from the female side of the population, right? Or is it like get another man coming in and telling us how we should behave and how we should do things and everything else? And that's we have to think about these things when we make a decision. What was the thing that you can think of? I mean, you may not remember, so you can just tell me that you don't remember. What was that where you were like, you know what? No, this is going to work. No, you know what? I can handle this.
I could kind of go back to this realization that, what we're doing now isn't working either. And again, back to like, who's the target customer? You're never going to get 100% of the customer base. Like, it's not
Right.
possible. Like, it's not going to happen. So if I'm worried about alienating 15% of potential customers, so what? I'm not going to get 85% anyway.
Right.
So what's the problem with maybe doing something that does potentially piss some people off? And what really, really started to make it click for me was when you all started explaining to me the dynamic of, indifference versus love and hate, and the spectrum that I was 100%, no question, in the world where I thought love and hate were on opposite ends. And if we did this name change and we pissed off, 15%, I don't know why I keep saying 15%, but whatever, we pissed off 80% of the market, it doesn't matter because we'll potentially get 20%. Over here on the indifferent side, where nobody was paying attention to us, it didn't, the 15, 80%, whatever, it didn't matter because we weren't connecting with anybody. We were back to getting those transactional customers down the road who didn't care whether we were Joe, John, whatever.
What's the price tag? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's interesting because, and like part of what I wanted to do and I was hoping you were going to do is start spewing back some of the stuff that we had taught you early on. And that's what you just did in that one, which I think is crazy. We talk a lot about in your first 6 months of your campaign, we don't expect any love. The only thing we ever really expect is some hate. When we internally on the Wizard of Ads team, we go, okay, is it going to be, when's the first piece of hate email or the first call that comes in where they're saying like, your ads are stupid. They don't sound like ads. These are dumb. I can't, right? And we bet on, is it a week? Is it a month? And I know our roadmap with you guys, it wasn't really the kind of the standard curve, but what was it like to get your first couple of pieces of hate or dislike of the campaign?
Well, what's funny is I think you guys had prepped me so much, and it's Matt and I have joked about this quite a few times where it's like, you guys are just making the whole thing up just to get us excited whenever we get hate and no calls for business.
Yeah.
But I think I could be wrong, but I feel like I recall either you, Jack, or Ryan saying something along the lines of, we typically don't get this much this fast. And I was like, yeah, people hate me. But I think what helped me get comfortable with it very fast was two things. One is what you just said, right? You all had prepared me so much for it that out of the gate, you're going to get the hate, then you're going to get acceptance, then you're going to get love. Like that's kind of the progression. So I was prepared, waiting and ready for the hate. And one of so prepared, right? That's one.
Yes.
The second aspect was the type of hate that we were getting, which out of the gate was, these ads are the stupidest ads that I've ever heard because you don't even say what you do as a business. I had to go to your website, look you up, and then send you a form on your website to figure out what you did. Sorry, I said that wrong. They didn't have to fill out a form to figure out what we did. They had to go to our website to figure out what we did. Then they sent us a form to tell us that they took that customer journey, which is unbelievable. So the validation there of like that indifferent side, like we're way on the other end of the spectrum right now.
Right. People care about you, whether they care because they want your service or they think that you're awesome or you're unignorable and they needed to go through like, what the heck am I actually listening to? They cared a little bit. Right. That's awesome.
Yes.
It's funny. Before you go on, it's funny that you get that. Like you said, what us preparing you, that's fine. But what you actually, again, you being a smarter than average cookie helps you because you said they had to go to the website. They had to listen to the ad. They had to go to the website. They had to tell you about your ad, which means they listened to it. They couldn't ignore it. So they knew all the details of the ad. They obviously got the website because that's the only thing we put on the radio ads. We don't put phone numbers or any other direction, right? And they care enough that they went and left you a message or sent you a web form. And so as soon as you realize that all of those things are really good, valid markers, and that represents a very small amount of the people that are actually going through that exact same journey, because most people don't complain about a radio ad. So if you're getting a lot of it, there's way more people that are going there just to figure out who you are. Then there's even, and now you get a smaller piece that are currently actively in buy mode, right? So at any given time, most people aren't buying an HVAC unit. They're not buying a heater. They're not buying a furnace, not buying anything. Most times people aren't in buy mode. Most people are just in life mode. And so the fact that they went out of their way definitely shows that at least it was impactful pretty quickly, which was great. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I wouldn't say so much that I got it per se, but one thing that I'm willing to do is to trust a process, right? And I feel like, and I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong here, because this has happened several times with you all, where I feel like you all are expecting a fight from us.
You said this more than once. Yes.
Yeah. And it's like you'll recommend something and I'll be like, all right, let's go. And it's, again, I'm inferring here because you haven't told me examples or anything like that. But I feel like sometimes when you have these conversations with clients or you're trying to get a new client or onboarding, you get a lot of pushback because it's so far outside of expectation of what people do. Plus, it's really, really hard to sell something that you can say, I can guarantee you're not going to have any results other than hate for probably 6 months. Like, yeah, where do I sign up, man? Like,
wait a second. Can I pay double?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's funny.
So, like, I can only imagine sitting on your side of the table, like how hard that is. But when something clicks for me, and this is something that I feel like you probably need more customers to do, which is say, hey, if I'm signing up for this, I got to trust the process and I got to believe what I'm doing and I'm going to do what they say to do. And I took that to heart because I took the time to understand it on the smart, not because I'm smart, I'm a flipping idiot, but I was willing to take the time to ask the proper questions to understand why we're doing this on the front end. That I believe so much in the process that when you all say do something, it's all right, let's make it happen.
Yeah,
it's hate mail, let's have some fun with it, right?
It's funny. I would even say we met for our annual meeting back in August. So our end of our first year was August of 2024. And at that meeting, I remember us holding back, like pulling punches because we didn't expect you guys to be like, you asked a very specific question. This is my favorite question. I'm not going to give data like numbers, but I'm going to do my best to kind of give the gist of it. But you said, what is it going to take for us to get to this big of a company? What does it take? That's the question. Actually, that's the question you said. Yeah. You just had a number. You got a size.
It's fine.
You said you wanted to be a $60 million company in 1 year, and we had gotten you to 20 million from 10 million, roughly. Like if we take a look at kind of the rough roadmap, you were about a $10 or $11 million company when we started. At the end of your first year, you're about a $20 million company. And the roadmap is trying to get to be a $60 million company. And we said, after a long, drawn out battle of wits, because we didn't want to tell you the number, we kept trying to say, it's not possible. Companies don't grow like that. And you're like, no, we're going to grow like that. We're like, no, you don't understand. And it's because of what you just said, which is most companies fight us on the process. They fight us on all the little stuff. There's not enough trust. And it's hard because it's the same thing. We have to do the same thing for our clients that you have to do for your clients. We have to build that trust up ahead of time so that when you come on board, you're willing to just run the process. We've done this. I mean, like, my small, 35 clients that I've had over the last 20 years. I mean, I say small, but it's 35 clients that have grown into a specific size, plus all of the Wizard of Ad clients that we have that are all following the same formula. I mean, we have billions of dollars worth of marketing budgets in our control. It's not like it's a little bit of dollars that we spend on behalf of our clients, but the trust of, okay, if I tell you this, are you going to freak out? And what do we tell you? I think we told you need to spend $6 million in marketing, because the only way people can grow a business is by being either ridiculously seen everywhere, which you're an HVAC company. That's impossible. You guys have the ugliest locations on the planet, right? Your sign may be beautiful, but the building is just a box, right? Or you need to be where people are not able to turn off the media. So radio, television, billboards, that sort of thing. And so you need to spend a lot of money to do it. And what that relates to, it's not always this number. It kind of decreases over time. Your marketing spend decreases as you get bigger. You get to spend closer to that 5 to 7% marketing versus the 10%. But it's a 10% marketing spend, a 10% spend from your revenue to what you want to be. And so if you're a $1 million company, and you spend $100,000, you're roughly going to be a $1 million company. So you want to be a $2 million company, you've got to spend $200,000. And that usually all goes towards some form of media. About 1% is spent against writing the ads and buying the media and all the other things that the Wizard of Ads do. But the radio or the television or the billboard or the direct mail pieces, the media itself, that's what you need to spend your dollars and cents on. There's a little bit on uniforms and wraps and Google, but it's about a 10% marketing spend. And so it's hard to tell somebody that, especially when they're a $1 million company or a $2 million company. That's a big marketing spend. And like you said, I'm saying, and it's going to fail. You're going to think it's failing for at least 6 months. Before it even gets live, it's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 months before we even start, which means we're going to be a whole year in, and you're going to still feel like nothing's moving in the direction you want it to. That's a hard sell, like you said, but we know it works.
Well, here's the thing, though, and I know you alluded this. So again, speaking to the, what is it, the fourth wall or whatever it is, I know it's 10%, but when you're positioning 10% of where you want to be, that was 25% of 24 for us.
Thank you. Exactly. Right.
So It's not, you're not spending, you say 10%. What the business
of
owner
hears,
what the business owner hears is, well, that's 25% of my revenue today. And it's like, okay, well then that's fine.
We scale it back usually, right?
Then don't do it. And I think that was the uncomfortable position, is you're probably used to people thinking in like small incremental growths or whatever it may be, versus, I'm probably too ambitious for my own good sometimes. But I go back to solving that uncertainty. If we're not going to get out there and do it, we know no one else is operating the business the way we are, at least in the markets we serve. I want to bring and solve as much uncertainty across the Carolinas as I possibly can. And that's why bringing comfort to the Carolinas matters.
100%. Well, and here's the other thing too, is you're not wrong, because we would never have given you a number. We would have never told you to spend 25% of your budget in our year one. Like, there's too many things that could go wrong. No campaign is guaranteed. Like, here's the other thing too, is no campaign is guaranteed. Yeah, we've got really good strategists and we've got really good writers, and all that's true. Have we ever missed? Yeah, we've missed, because it all sounds really good until you put some things into practice. And if you can slowly, even your campaign, the first year of the campaign was just to make sure everybody knew who you were, and launching out a new brand name. Wasn't until now that we're starting to really lay into the hook, into the exactly what called ad stands for. And it takes a full year for us to really get to that. So for us to ask you to spend 25% of your revenue to try and triple your business in 1 year. We could never start with you that way. It would never have started with you that way, right? That's a big ask. You would have told us to pound salt. And so we just don't have clients, because we deal with a lot of small, $5 million, $10 million size clients where every penny is really important. And so it's harder for them to take those risks.
Well, your answer is, trying to think of a way to say this. Your answer is, I can't tell you how to do it unless you're willing to take material steps towards
that's
getting to that point. You know what I mean? And most people, back to, how do you get somebody to sign up for 6 months of hate and then maybe another 6 months of lukewarm response, and then you get a love letter, right?
Right.
It's that of, how do I tell somebody that and actually get them to sign up and do it? And it's a very tough proposition, right? Now, to be clear, I don't recommend people doing it. And it's not that every penny doesn't count to us. We invest every single cent back into the business. I don't take any out, because we're investing in Call Dad University. We're investing in, new vehicles, new market expansion, all these types of things, right? So every penny does count for us, but it's because I've got a specific vision of what we want to accomplish. Yes. You don't have to go 25% to get the benefit of Wizards. You can absolutely take small incremental steps, but you just have to be willing to believe in the process the same way, just not taking the same level of risk.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's really well said. Yeah. Please understand, if anybody is listening to this, yeah, we definitely, we would tell you can't grow 3 times. We actually told the Call Dad you can't grow 3 times in a year. We still don't think they're going to grow 3 times in a year, but we're trying our darndest. But Matt Stewart and Matt Pozda are, quite frankly, they're assholes. They just don't care. They're like, no, we're doing it. Okay. So let's flip the script here a little bit. And I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to give you room. We've got about 10 minutes left. You can ask me any question you want to know about either future of the campaign, things that you can ask me about me. I don't care I'm going to turn it over. But the last question I have is, when we handed you the first script, how did that go for you?
I thought, are you talking in terms of me reading it myself,
like
for the
when
first
you
time,
got it, like when we read it to you, like when you were first presented with what we thought was the best path forward for Call Dad. So now it's true creative, and we're telling you you're going to go in and read your radio ad. What did you think?
I thought, damn it, I'm going to be Mr. Jenkins.
Oh, man, listen, they're not a client anymore. They sold.
I know, but I don't mean to bring up that.
You're going to be the new Jenkins on the block. Yeah, yeah.
Well, not that way. I'm going to be, it's like that dynamic of, oh shit, I'm going to be Dewey. Like, I'm going to be that goofy guy. Right. And it happens now where people will be like, oh, you're Matt? Like, so it was maybe it wasn't so much what the words on the sheet mattered. It was, this, remember we had to talk to my wife about some of the stuff. Yeah. Like, it's that of like, what am I getting myself into, and understanding that. It almost, I hate to, because I know what you're getting at, so I'm sorry for not. But you know me, I'm going to bluntly respond. It was that of, if I believe it and I'm charging the vision of this organization, if I'm not willing to stand up there and say what my values are and what I'm doing, then back to, why the hell are we doing this? Right. So again, you coached me very well. At the end of the day, it didn't matter what was on that sheet. I probably would have been happy with it, because I was ready to take the leap into Call Dad and into the future. Okay. All right. All that said, I thought it was goofy as hell. And I was like, what?
This isn't going to work. How is this going to work? Like, there was the good news is the first one was very much about your origin story and how you got into the business and why you decided to get into HVAC. The second one was all about how you decided to steal your dad's credit card, which wasn't really how it ended up going down, but it's how you stole your dad's credit card so you could be a rug dealer. Sell Persian rugs in high school, whatever. Okay.
I got busted.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
That still might be my favorite line of any ad, is the, I got busted.
See, and you say it exactly the way it sounds.
Who
Okay,
told me to say it that way, by the way?
Jack. This is all Jack. Jack is an incredibly gifted, like his theater of the mind is really, really good. So,
All right, let
okay,
me, if you don't mind. Well,
go
because
ahead.
you were going to say you're going to give me a chance to hit you with
Yeah,
some,
do it.
right?
This is your chance. This is your chance.
How nerve wracking is it for you on that end? Like I said,
What do
I'm
you mean?
kind of,
The delivery of the first ad?
yeah, like, because I feel like when you're reading it, you were analyzing our facial expressions.
Always. Yeah. Listen, I said it earlier. There's no guarantee this is going to work. No matter
Yeah.
what we do, there's no guarantee it's going to work. What I've recognized over the course of the last 20 years is that when I give myself wholly into the situation, it always does work. It's so strange. And so the more hesitant I've had campaigns early on fail, and it's because I didn't allow myself to believe in a campaign that I put out. And I wish I'd never made a mistake. That's never the
Yeah.
case. And so what I've realized is if I, in the writing or in the strategy, like when I'm going through the strategy process, whether I'm doing it for myself with a client or I'm doing it with a partner with a client, when I'm building out the strategy, I have to say, this is going to work. And then when I see something that I know won't work in it, then I change it. And so it's weird because that's my internal way of doing it, but it's the
But how does
giving
that,
100% of yourself makes it work.
how do you play that out though in a scenario? Like, give me an example, like where a client has disagreed with something and you went with it anyway, or you felt that in
Well,
your
yeah.
gut. Like, yeah.
No, so it's never, no, when I fail is when I allow the client to lead me. So I'm actually, and I won't name names, but I have a client right now who early on was so, like they really wanted, they know the acumen of the Wizard of Ads. They know that we come in and do these awesome, really good things and we help clients grow their business, but they didn't believe what we wanted was going to work. And so they started saying, well, no, but you can't do it at this time because this is what normally happens in our business. I said, I don't care what happens in your business.
Yeah.
None of your ads talk about your business outside of the fact that you're going to be there when they need you. That's the only thing that we hold dear to our hearts, is that you're always going to be there when they need you.
Yeah.
Done. End of story. We don't talk about Daikin air conditioning systems. We don't talk about, the size of the wheels on the truck that your family owned and operated, that you're open 24. Like, we don't talk about any of those things, right? And it was really important for this client that I'm working with. We're a year in, we're about to do our annual meeting, and we screwed up because we allowed the client to interject their feelings into the way the marketing should be done. And so they didn't trust the process. And so
But did you
they
know
came
it?
to us.
Like,
Sorry?
so when you allowed it to happen, did you know it right out of the gate?
No. And so I did know that they were injecting themselves into the ad. They weren't asking us to change our writing. They were asking us to write specifically for something that was in their industry. So it's not like an HVAC company. It's completely different. In their industry, they have very seasonality things that happen. And so they wanted us to talk about the seasonality things in the season, which is not when you should do it, but they believed it did, because they did everything digital, that people make a decision in the moment.
But I mean more like, were you begrudgingly writing where you were like, this is not,
The last 3
like,
months
this is not going to work?
No, I thought I could make their bad idea work.
Yeah. So you tried, because you made a comment earlier, like, I got to give 100% is what you said, right? But you can give 100% to running into a concrete wall.
And it's still a concrete wall.
Yeah. Doesn't mean, so like,
so, okay. So to give you an example,
do you get what I'm
no,
hitting?
100%. So what happened is, just so you get full clarity on this. So I got a phone call. We were doing a monthly call like we do with you guys. And the client said, nothing's happened. Like our market, we're spending a lot of money. It's not working. And I said, you're right. And I said, and it's our fault. I said, the difference is that people that are coming to you are coming to you because of the radio ads, and they're not coming from the digital side. You're overspending there. We showed them how that through their Google Analytics, how the leads weren't coming from here. They were coming from branded and direct search, organic and direct search, which the only way that they come in through that is if they know you before they search, right?
Yeah.
So we proved to them that it's working, but they're not growing. And they weren't growing because we were talking at the wrong time. We were talking about the wrong things at the wrong time. And so I said, that's on us. So we've we've completely changed the campaign. It's still going to have like a semblance of that it's the same campaign, but we've changed the way we're going to, the messaging that we're going to write. And we gave them a whole new path forward. I said, and if you say no, I have to walk away at this point, and that's on me. So you let me know when we walk away, what it is that you'd like to, well, there's compensation there because I wasn't strong enough. So like you've challenged me on things, and you usually challenge me and say, hey, are you sure these 5 words are right? Or hey, just because it's more true to me, could I say it like this? And we say yes or no. And when I've said no, you bet, all right, I'll just read it. And when I say yes, you go, okay, good, I like it better. And so that I like that, like we have to, it's your company. Like this isn't my company. Like, yes, we believe in that we're a partner of yours. We grow together. As you guys make more money, we make some more money too. So it's a partnership, but I'm a professional that does this on a daily basis for multiple companies at the same time. And I've been doing this for years. And if I don't put my foot down at some point, just say, listen, you have to either trust me or we're scrapping it, then I failed the client. We have another partner, his name's Mick Torbay, and he says we don't serve the client by pandering to their delusions. Now it's an internal thing, so ignore what I just said, but it's not wrong. It's a bad way of saying like you have to trust us because this is what we do. And if it doesn't work, it's on us. But if we don't say that line, then it is on us at the beginning anyway. So
All right,
that's the truth.
So let me ask you then, all right, delusional, right? I feel like, and I feel pretty confident in this statement, you can be delusional on both ends of the spectrum. You can be hyper delusional like us, where we think we can do more and we're willing to take more risks probably than we should. And you can be delusional on the other end of the spectrum, where you think you're going to get results without willing to take the risk and spend the money or take the leap of faith into ads that are not like anything else that you're hearing on the radio, right? Because I'm sure that that's the spectrum of clients that you get a lot. As you said, you don't get a lot that are in our realm. You probably get a lot on the other. What's worse? Like what's harder for you to navigate, and how do you typically navigate it?
So, okay. So
does that make sense? That's a long question.
So here's the difference. So when I onboard a client that I've found, so a client that comes in through my gravity well, so not through another partner, because the way our partnership works is if I bring in a client, I typically will take them on and I'll be a strategist and I find a writer and I find a media buyer and I find the people that I need to, and out of the 80 some odd partners we have worldwide. And I just figure out one that, I mean, if it's an industry that I don't have a lot of experience in, I'll go find a partner who's written for somebody else that's in that industry somewhere else, or whatever. But I pull in the team. And when I do that, I start with a 90-minute phone call first. That's the first thing that I do. And that 90-minute phone call gets me enough data so that I can say, yes, you're in an industry and you're at the right time in your business, that this makes sense for you to do. And so then let's talk about doing that. And at the end of 90 minutes, I usually have given them enough easy, low-hanging fruit things that they could go and they could strive to do something different with their brand, whatever that is. And I don't know, because it's always different every time. And then at the end of that 90 minutes, if I think this is a client that I can make, it's a cheat. If I think I like them and I think that they can actually grow their business, then I'll take them on as a client. Okay. Then I meet them for a day. I still don't hire them on, or they don't hire me on. I don't even offer my services. I say, listen, you could hire me for one day and we're going to come up with a bold idea, and a bold idea that if I walked away, you could run, and I know it'll work. And it's a guaranteed day, so that if we go through the whole day and you go, yeah, that was bullshit, I'm out, then I'll give you your money back. That bold idea day costs $6,000. And I fly somewhere. Sometimes we go to Austin. Sometimes they come up and see me in Halifax, Nova Scotia, wherever it is. And I spend a full day with them. And I've had a lot of where I really thought it was going to work. When I met with the client and we worked together and we spent a day, I went, it's not going to work. So then I find obviously a nice departure way to say, hey, listen, this is all, everything's good, blah, blah, blah. And they say, what's next? Well, I really think you need to go and implement those things and let me know when you've done it. And then usually they just don't implement them because they can't. And then I don't hear back from them, and then it goes away. So it's a cheat, but it's because if I'm going to take a big chunk of your money up front and then charge you every month for the rest of your existence, I have to know I can do the work. Otherwise, I'm stealing from you in that first year. Stealing, quite frankly, just taking your money and you're getting nothing, because you're going to throw it out if you don't hit year 2. So my my heart and my brain don't allow me to do that to a client. So I have this really tiered program before I say, okay, we're going to do it. Then you pay me my upfront. I come out and meet you for a day like we did with you at your place of business, get to know you, figure out what you're doing, really try to understand. And it's a little bit easier for me because I've already had that bold idea day to try to get some of those data points. We eat meals together and we drink alcohol together because that's when the good stuff comes out. Okay. And then I spend a couple months and I plan. When I onboard that way, I typically never have an issue. At the end of the first year, depending on my budget that we get to work with. So if it's a really small client, like I have a gutter company down in Texas, North Texas Gutters. Sam Davis, great owner. There was no way he could hire me. So he hired me for a day. I gave him a couple of bold ideas. He went and implemented them and grew his margin from the ideas that I gave him by himself. So he understood how to do it from like 15% margins to 45% margins. Because he didn't realize that what he was doing for his clients was actually 10 times what everybody else in his market is doing. He actually shows up the next time. Like the gutter business is just a business. Okay. It's kind of like roofing, right? They're just like companies disappear and they do shitty work and they hired the guy on the corner of the street. So he was offering so much better service. He didn't realize that it was valuable because he was only playing with transactional customers in a digital market space.
Yeah.
You know that feeling. He started doing this, and all of a sudden when people got to him and he gave them the price and they went, okay, it was a little higher than I was expecting, but if you can guarantee it like that, then great, I'm in, I'll do it. He then came back to me, okay, I probably still can't afford you, but I really want to hire you. What is it going to take? And then I gave him the numbers and he goes, okay, I'll carve that out of the budget and we'll do it. He had to prove himself to me to take him on. So I will just say no, even though it's a good human, got a great company, he's doing everything right, she's doing everything right. I can't just take them on because. So that's how I avoid most of those. I've had 2 clients where I really felt that struggle at the beginning, and how I've overcome both of them is I fired one because I just couldn't see eye to eye and I gave them back their upfront. I kept the monthly, gave them back their upfront. And the second one, I told you what I did, which is I said, we're changing the campaign and it's up to you to run it. They decided to run it. So we're now going into year 2 and we won't make that mistake again. Yeah. Like I don't have problems. We get tons of questions, like questioning why we're doing the things that we do, but I get less of those questions from you twice. Most people don't remember, or they don't want to. The other thing is most clients don't want to be educated. And I'm okay with that. If somebody says, don't teach me about it, just get it done. I love that because then it's just out of my way and there's less banter. But if you ask me to educate you, then I want you to listen, because educating you twice and 3 times. No, it's not because I don't. Listen, I talk about marketing all day long. Like I would talk to you about marketing. I mean, I'm doing this. This is free time. We're not getting paid right now. This is free time. We're doing it because we love talking about marketing. But you're going to get frustrated if I have to explain it to you for a 3rd time. So really come into it wanting to understand the process. And you're the proof that we do tell it and teach it the right way so that over time you remember. Because you said things back to me that I don't think I've ever said even on any of my videos that I do. Yeah. And I should say a lot more of those things. So now I'm going to have to in my next couple of videos. Okay. That went really well. Do you have any other questions that you can think of?
Well, I've got a lot, but you tell me.
Well, we can do another video. So,
all right. Well, then we'll save them. But you know me, I'll ask questions into perpetuity.
Okay. Well, listen, this is fun. I actually really like being challenged on why it is that we do what we do. And I think this is a really interesting way for us to continue to bounce things back and forth. Guys, Matt Pozda from Call Dad, AC and Heating. I totally forgot the name, but calldad.com. It's really easy to remember. If something's going wrong, what do? You call Dad. So calldad.com. And one of my favorite clients to work with. Okay. I say that to all my clients. But he's the only one that I do multiple interviews with. So that must say something. Interesting guy and does great work. If you're in the Carolinas, call Dad. And, after
we're on the way.
And after, you're on the way. And if you lasted this long, good for you. Subscribe, like, and all that kind of stuff. And there'll be another one of these probably in a month. Fingers crossed. Okay. Yeah. That's definitely now going to be the thumbnail for this one.
Oh,
anyway,
God.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Talk soon. Yeah.
We'll see you.